You're watching Let Us Comics Press. I'm Will Harrison. Thanks for watching. I'm here with a good friend, John Ferguson.
That's who, yeah, today, that's who I am today, yes.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Actually, met about 2 years ago, give or take.
Yeah.
And had a great time meeting you.
Well, you know, at this convention, center cons like that, those are much fun. They're really fun to go. And I always enjoy because I meet, you know, for you guys in Lotus Comics to get acquainted, and that's good for me, and that's neat for me too as well.
Exactly. Well, it's always, like I said, it's always a pleasure. And you're also known for playing Count Gregore on TV.
Longer than probably I've ever thought about in my life, and yeah, that's the thing about identification. There's probably fewer people know me as John Ferguson, but a heck of a lot of people about doing Count Gregore. But that all came about, though, real quick here. We'll talk about how that did, because in the early days when it started out, which was May the 10th, 1958, live television, that's when it went on the air, Saturday nights, 11:30, right after live wrestling with Danny Williams on Channel 4 WKY-TV. And immediately when it went on, I just then went on the air and said, "Good evening. I need to introduce myself. I am Count Gregore, and this is Shock Theater." When I went off the air, the closing night, so we said, "Well, good night. Every stay secure, your doors and windows locked. I am Count Gregore. I'll be looking for you next week." There was never any cast of characters like in a stage play or a movie. Characters cast out. It just, so anyway, that's how it all existed. And from that day one, no matter how long, 30 years till 1988, it was like, "Good night, I am Count Gregore." But in those early days, later on, there were stories about, and then it came out about John Ferguson being Count Gregore. But in those early days, I was sort of a non-entity at Channel 4 in those days, because they had such a big staff of really professional announcers who'd been there doing from the WKY radio days. And they went on the air in 1949, the television station did. I don't arrive until 1956. Luckily, I get on 3D Danny show, created a villain for him, and got me on that show, and that was a 5-day weekly show. And then in 1958, they came to me and said, could I create a character for a late night horror show? Well, that became Count Gregore. And that went on the air again, May 10th, Saturday night, May the 10th, 1958. And from that point on, who would expect it would last on television 30 years, and here we are in 2011, and I am still, that's Count Gregore. Funny thing how things happen, over the years.
So tell us a little bit about who John Ferguson is, other than just what people know as far as you being an actor.
John Ferguson was a shy, skinny little kid that grew up in Indiana. Smallest kid around, youngest kid around, and always an easy target for anybody who wanted to get, I was the front end of every joke. Because in other words, what were they afraid of? I mean, I go into high school, I'm barely 5 feet tall and weigh 100 pounds. Barely. So who am I a threat to? No one, not even the girls. So in a lot of accomplishments, somebody asked me one time, why did I want to become an actor? And I opened up my jacket and I said, would you look at this body? Look at this skinny body. Look at me, 121 pounds. This is an older time when I'm working television here. And I said, do I look like the All-American stud quarterback on campus? No. So I said, no, I had to find something that I really wanted to do in my life, and what became a dream. And if you really look back and look at a lot of actors, especially in Hollywood in those days, in the early 50s, Alan Ladd was a huge movie star in the 40s and the 50s, was barely 5 feet tall, 5'6" at best. And they had to, they even lowered the sets down by 2 feet, so it would look like when he's standing framed in the doorway, it looked like he was taller.
Yeah.
So they would have a hole for the girls to stand in, or him on a little hip, all these adjustments. But he had that nice voice, and he was handsome. And I was just, so I'm a small guy. So I said, I really had, I grew up in a small town, 5,000. This was 1940s, 1945 when I graduated from high school during the war. And I just always had this dream. My mom bought movie magazines and loved the movies, and every Tuesday nights we'd go to the movies. And I'd sit there just captivated by the movies and how it was done and whatever. And knew very little bit. I'd read the movie magazines, but it was always the glamour side of it, of course. And I just somehow, back in my little mind, I would just want to become an actor. And people would kind of laugh at me even then. I know one time around the party, somebody asked, what are you going to do? I said, I like to be an actor. Of course, everybody, oh, like this. But I didn't care. I mean, that's just what I wanted to do. And I did take high school, and of course, all high schools, everybody has the junior class, the senior class, and the drama class presentation. And I was always doing that, working stage, doing everything else. I just had that dream.
What would you say is your passion as far as that drives you in acting?
Just a passion, the love of it. I enjoy. As I said, I can't say about shy. I can avoid crowds a lot of times. And just going out, I just hate to kind of go, when there's something new and I've got to go out there by myself, Tennessee, I would not go. Chances are I wouldn't go if I had to walk in the big room by myself. Now, being Count Gregore has changed a little bit of that because I know when I walk in, then that the people expect and they recognize me. But generally speaking, I'm just kind of shy and I would not do that. But it's like therapy. In other words, when I can be somebody else or change the character, and I love people. I have a love for people. Mm-hmm. And I have a teacher's degree in special education with a lot of theater and radio classes or electives. That's really how I graduated from college, when I got into my electives. Because that was my passion. I just enjoyed radio. I enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed doing these things. I guess my mind, I just see things, and I like to write things. I like to write stories. I like to, and once I got to be in my play, once I did the first play and got up there and got the applause at the end, and somebody did something, and oh my gosh, nobody laughed at me. I got applause.
Very amazing story, though. You have a lot of new products, actually. You've been featured in the Scary Monster magazine.
A friend of mine was a fan and met him on Facebook, and named him Tom Fowler, and he met me, and we got on emails and all that, and so he said, "Do you mind if I write a story?" And I said, "Well, no, not at all." He said, "Well, I know the guy Dennis Dentkin, Dentkin's what I say his name, but anyway, Dennis Dentkin, I think it is." But he said, "I think I know him, and I'll see if I can maybe he'd be interested." So he emailed me the next night. He said, "Send me the stuff. I got to write it right now," because he said, "You send it to me, we'll print it when the April issue." So now I got to write it. So he wrote it. And the next thing I know, and he sends me a copy, and this is what he put, the gentleman, the publisher,
very awesome,
put that on the cover. And this is the back side of it, and the artist just did the work of this. But then we go in there, and there is this, what I wasn't prepared for, was all of this in the story here. If I can hold it, you'll hold that side,
absolutely, and
I'll just turn the page right here. Like this, the bottom, if I can get it. Maybe have you do it. There we go. Okay, so there was the article, starting there, and it goes over there to this, and there's even one more page. Where do we get there? There. Hang on a second, we'll get it right. There we go. That is the whole story in there, and this was the April magazine, and they're kind of out. We're on the newsstands. But I still have some. If anybody wants one to find it, I've got them.
Where can people find you at on say Facebook?
Facebook. They can find me on Facebook because I'm out there. Got that.
Do you have a website as well?
There's another website they can go to. Is www.seellc.biz.
Huh.
www.seellc.biz. I think that's it.
See, what I like about this guy is he is so amazing. He even has his own trading card.
A friend of mine in New York called me. I didn't know. I just met him again on Facebook, whatever, and he said, "I'm going to put some up."
So is there anything you would like to tell our fans?
Oh yeah, and what I've to me,
or your fans, rather.
Well, yeah, everybody's fans, whatever. It's just that I always like to say thank you. I want them to really truly know how much I appreciate them being there, because I would, television, if you don't have the ratings, you don't have fans or shows, records, whatever. People, if they don't buy, fans don't buy the records like it, you don't have any performances. You don't have a job. And I've been on there since 1958 with this fan base. But what it is, if people come up to me and say, "I grew up with you," and that's so special. How many performers around can say they've been there that long that people literally say, "I grew up with you"? If people were 6 or 7 years old and starting out that early, which we didn't realize at the time in 1958, and here in 1988 they're 30 or 40 years old, or whatever they started watching at 50 or 60, and people were still that age. And what it is so significant. I did not know how endearing that character was to people. But when they say, I grew up with you, and immediately say, and here's what we did. We were over here. And that recalls so many fond memories that they've recalled all their life. And I've got to share that with so many people. That's incredible.
It's a legacy, amazing legacy.
Well, you know, I hear that, and you know, legend and all of that, and I wear that fine, and I appreciate it. And I am who I am, and I enjoy performing. I enjoy being out to meet the people. I've gotten to meet so many wonderful people, and people in my life that I would never, ever have had the opportunity to do this without being in television, being kind of grateful all these many years. And you guys are right here, your generation. I mean, and that's the other thing. When I was doing the OKC Follies, there was 18, 19, 20-year-olds. I signed magazines for them. And they, boom, and they crossed that generation gap. So hey, what can I say? There's everything about it. It's been wonderful to me.
Pleasure having you on the show, John. As always.
My pleasure.
Been a blast. Always fun hanging out with you.
I enjoy it.
Check out John here on Facebook and as well also on his website. It's been an absolute pleasure. Once again, John Ferguson, Count Gregore. I'm Will Harrison, signing off. Thanks for watching.
Good night. May all your nightmares come true.